a series on why white people are so set on continually promoting that Egyptians were white, or that Egyptians were tan, or Egyptians were yellow-skinned, or brown-skinned, or Arab-looking. And really, not to actually do the video right now, but to just briefly touch on it. I was reading the diaries of Alexander the Great, just some light reading. And Alexander said that when he got to Egypt, his generals had conquered Egypt for him so that he was able to walk into Egypt freely. He was dumbstruck, dumbfounded, awestruck, completely and utterly. Nowhere else in the entire European world had he seen anything so magnificent. He had the priests take him up the Nile, and he was dumbfounded at the stature and grandeur of the temple. He said he felt as if it was the land of the gods, because everything was just so on a scale that was inhuman. He went to the mouth of the Nile, or as he said, I'm sure he didn't go to the mouth, but to the great temple. And this is the temple where they declared the pharaohs of Pharaoh. He went to this temple, which was 20 stories tall, and he stood at the front of the pillars overlooking the valley with all the people in front of him, and they made him a god, and he had his face put on a coin. And he said, these black people really know how to do things. Now, the whole racism didn't even start until England came out. And it was the paleontologists from England that wrestled with the whole notion that black people could make something that would just dumbfound anybody in Europe. Their structures, even the cathedrals, the Notre Dame, just put it to shame. And it was their task to completely and utterly destroy any reference to black people in England. Thank you for watching this video. I will do this series if you want. Banned in Egypt on the grounds of, quote, historical inaccuracy. Ridley Scott's epic, based on the Bible's book of Exodus, stars Christian Bale. I've been trying to do research and think about doing a series on why white people are so set on continually promoting that Egyptians were white, or that Egyptians were tan, or Egyptians were yellow-skinned, or brown-skinned, or Arab-looking. And really, not to actually do the video right now, but to just briefly touch on it. I was reading the diaries of Alexander the Great, just some light reading. And Alexander said that when he got to Egypt, his generals had conquered Egypt for him so that he was able to walk into Egypt freely. He was dumbstruck, dumbfounded, awestruck, completely and utterly. The film has been banned in Egypt on the grounds of, quote, historical inaccuracy. Ridley Scott's epic, based on the Bible's book of Exodus, stars Christian Bale as Moses and Joel Edgerton as Egyptian Pharaoh Ramses. But despite the Hollywood pulling power, the country's censors were unimpressed with the film's claim that an earthquake sparked the famous parting of the Red Sea, rather than a divine miracle, and another suggestion that Jews built the pyramids, which were, of course, by the country's quote-unquote Jews from Egypt who were already 10,000 years old. Not only Egypt, but it's also being reported that Morocco has banned the film as well. Agence France-Presse has speculated that Morocco does not want to screen the film because it is largely Muslim country, and Muslims believe that Moses is a prophet and hence should not be depicted on the big screen. And there you have it. You can tell that it's whitewashing when in every single film about Egypt, they have white actors play the lead roles, and as extras, everybody else is black. Tell me what you think about Egypt, the actual country, banning the film, which has nothing to do with being Muslim or anything else. They're banning it because white people are being depicted as Egyptians. As a historical reference, I know white people are going to scream and holler Egyptians were white or Egyptians were tan or Egyptians were brown. They were not white or tan. They were black like me. Why? Why do I know this? Because that's where my ancestors from. Egyptian house, the house of Pharaoh. What you call a Pharaoh, the actual name of the person that sat in the position was called king. The house, the seat is called Pharaoh. A lot of white people get that confused too. They're enamored by exotic sounding words, so they would rather call the king Pharaoh and not even bother with understanding that the house or the seat is called Pharaoh and not the actual king. The Egyptians would not worship anybody sitting in the house of Pharaoh who was not black because they saw the color black as being all powerful. So you couldn't have a brown person sitting in the house of Pharaoh. This is evident when Alexander the Great put his general over Egypt, and the general could not, for the life of him, get the Egyptians to worship him as a god. Until such time as he killed thousands and thousands of Egyptians, did they finally say, okay, we're going to make you a god, so give us your god. And who did they give you? What we now know today as the face of Jesus Christ, the white guy with the beard and the long flowing hair. That's who they made him into as a god. Go look it up historically. The house of Pharaoh was, first of all, the entire place was founded by the Nubians, who are my color, and the second invasion after the Nubians were the Bantu, who were my color. Egyptos means black. Nubian means black. Kemet means black. Everything says black, black, black. The people who you think look Arabian and who you think overtook the area or ruled the area as you think are Arabians. The Arabians at the time lived in Arabia, deep in Arabia, in the southeastern peninsula part of Arabia. There was nobody in between Arabia, Saudi Arabia, I guess the Arabian Peninsula, and all the way up to the Mediterranean. Nobody was there. That was an uninhabited area. And people are trying to use the Bible as a historical reference, and it is not historically accurate whatsoever. It is 100% categorically a lie. It is not history. There were no people living in what we call Israel today. There was nobody there. Nobody. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Why? Because it was uninhabitable. Nobody could live there. There was nothing there. People get confused. They think the Bible is a history book. It is not a history book. It is a religious item that you hold sacred for you. It has nothing to do with history. Nobody lived there. People say, well, the Lebanese lived there, or the Persians lived there. No. The Persians and the Lebanese lived near Eastern Europe, on that border. That's where those people lived. They didn't live towards Africa. Nobody lived there. And in fact, it was a very harsh ordeal for the Arabians to trade with Egypt because they had to go through tons of desert to get there. There was no famines, there was no kings, there was no blah, blah, blah. All of those people were pushed up. That's why the Iranians have blue eyes. green eyes, because they're pretty much European. They're not African in nature. And the Hebrews live in Africa. The people you call Jews today are not Hebrews. They have 0% Hebrew blood in them. There's not a drop in them. And you are listening to people who are trying to impose white supremacy on the entire history books to say that they have a Hebrew blood in them. The Khazarians have 0% blood in Hebrew blood in them. 0 DNA, 0, none, zilch, nothing. These are people who are Europeans who converted to Judaism. How's that hard to understand? But if you're not a person who deals with history, fact, and science, you're going to think that the Bible is a historical document. It is not. It is categorically 0% accurate history. There is not a drop of fact in it. None. Stop trying to use it as a historical document. And if you don't believe me, go and listen to astrophysicist Neil deGrasse. He has said it also. It has 0 historical fact in it. None of it. So then you have this movie, and the Egyptians are saying, you weren't white, you were never white. There was no white people here. And definitely not during Ramses. All the whitewashing. And it is a tool of the white supremacists. Thank you for watching the Skin Live Show. Skin Live Show.
Load up, doggone it. Looks like there's some error going on with this stuff. Let me switch. All those rooms are locked.